to my review of Flash, Episode 10, Potential Energy. Okay, when we went to midwinter break, the Flash went up against Weather Wizard, Captain Cold, and the Trickster. And at the end of that whole thing, they kind of went their own separate way, and Barry's just kind of dealing with things as is. Now, in this episode, Barry and Patty have this coming together, pulling apart thing going on. And there's a lot of struggle, there's a lot of turmoil in their relationship in this episode. Turmoil just seemed to be like the idea throughout this whole episode. Turmoil between Joe and Wally, which in the last episode when Wally showed up, we thought, Wally's just gonna come in and he's just gonna be the wayward son. No pun intended. Supernatural. But we figured he was just gonna kind of come in and kind of fit into the mold of things, and he's kind of rebellious. He's the street racer, and him and Joe are really butting heads, and especially after he blew off the dinner. So we really see those two really at odds on this thing moving forward. So from there, and all that's going on, we have a new villain that showed up. Well, not really a new villain that showed up, a new one that Cisco has told us about. And apparently in this episode, come to find out, there are more metahumans that are just kind of wandering about, going on and doing what they're doing, and Cisco knows about it. So they feel that by somehow using the turtle's power, that they can get to Zoom, that they can use this to stop his speed force. So quite a few times in this episode, Barry goes up against the turtle and ends up getting beat. He can't, because this guy creates this force field around him, slowing everything down. And it's like Barry just can't run through that. So ultimately what you have is the unstoppable force meets the immovable object. So, especially in the dinner scene where they're at the art gallery, and Barry's excuses for taking Patty out are always memorable. And in this whole episode, Barry is struggling with telling Patty that he's the Flash. But through this whole ordeal with the turtle, it ends up pushing Patty away. And she's leaving Central City. Really? In all reality? You want to know what I think? This is what I think. Okay? So this is pretty much what's happened throughout the episode. I'm going to get to what I think in a minute. But, so, moving forward. So Jay is, that we find out in this episode, is dying because he's lost his speed force, and the speed force is pretty much the only thing that was keeping him alive, So there's strain, there's turmoil between Jay and Caitlin. So from there, throughout this whole episode, whether it's Wally or Joe, and in the end of that situation, come to find out, they kind of just disagreed or agreed to disagree. And, the moment, one of my favorite moments in this whole episode was when Wally looked at Joe and said, the man of the house, that slot has been filled, and it's filled by me. I got to do what I got to do to provide for me and my mom and pay my mom's medical bills. And there's this running joke, there's this running thing that goes out throughout the episode that Joe's this great detective, but Wally keeps pointing this out, that if he was such a great detective, why didn't you find me all these years? So from there, Harrison Wells is trying to figure out a way to either take Zoom speed or take Flash's speed, or pretty much just trying to figure out how to stop the speedsters, I guess, in general. So from there, after all of this chaos and turmoil, what ends up happening at the end of the episode is Patty leaves, Wally and Joe kind of go their own separate ways. Jay, Caitlin, and and Barry's just kind of left with like, what the hell should I do? So here's my thoughts on the matter. Okay, my thoughts go like this. Okay, first of all, I'm glad Patty's going because her character's not bad, but it's like, seriously, let's get somebody better in there. Barry still dealing with getting his ass whooped by Zoom. Still worrying about Zoom and what Zoom could possibly do to his loved ones. Harrison Wells, this guy is pretty much on the fence. He's the wild card in this whole situation. It's like, what is he going to do? Is he going to stab Barry in the back? Is he going to turn on Zoom? So he's really like that player in the mix that's really going to decide everything. And Wally, I think, I'm glad he's on the show. I think he'll bring an interesting dynamic. And I like that there's this butting heads between him and Joe. So I think that's really neat. So all in all, I give the episode a solid 8 because I was expecting more. I liked it, but I was expecting more. I really was. I was left with like this Flash episode 10, season 2, like we should step up to the plate. Which, when I talk in my Arrow and Supernatural review, they stepped up to the plate as they always do. That's why they're my favorite shows, because they stepped up to the plate and they hit a home run. I feel like Flash just kind of hit a double. So, like I said, I like the episode. Overall, 8. Thanks for watching my reviews. Before I end this video, got a little sneak preview of next week's episode. Reverse Flash is coming back, and we're gonna get to really see him and Barry go at it again, and we're gonna find out where this Reverse Flash came from. Maybe he came from a different universe, maybe a different Earth, or we're gonna figure out the story to that next week. So that should be exciting. So stay tuned. I'm Spykes. I'm Shadow. Thanks for watching.